what we're going to do is we're going to start with introducing ourselves. I am Saurabh. I'm the solutions engineer here at Opsera. I have over 20 years of experience in software engineering, and I'm an avid user of GitHub. Ed, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, hi, I'm Ed Slatt. I'm also a solutions engineer at Opsera. And while I've been a developer for most of my career, I've worked for DevOps vendors for 6 years now. So much of that time has been in professional services where I've designed migration engagements and performed a few myself. So happy to be with you all.
Thank you, Ed. And Ed, have you seen a lot of Git migrations? Does it scare you anymore?
So SCM migrations are typically scary, and there's a reason for that. These repos are the center for not just code, but also knowledge in general. There's a lot of things that point into these repos, so a lot of people depend on them. Availability is very important, and when it's not available, it's quickly noticed. So visibility is high, and that just ratchets up the intensity.
So you feel it is hard to manually migrate SCMs? And why are people migrating their SCMs?
It is hard, and there's always a forcing function, right? Nobody does this for fun. It's either to get away from something or to get to something. So maybe your hosting platform is changing some policies and you have to get off of it. A lot of times there's a timeline involved. You have to get off before you have to renew or whatever. And then sometimes you're trying to move towards something. So somebody introduces some new technology and you want to get there. The decision has been made, so you got to get there.
Correct. And yeah, that brings me to my first slide, actually. And Atlassian is changing the Bitbucket server offering, and Atlassian is ending the server support. And you want to take advantage of GitHub Copilot and GitHub Actions hybrid model with Opsera. Having said that, I do want to introduce you to some challenges the companies are facing these days. As a developer or a DevOps manager or a CTO, SCM migration is manual, time-consuming, and an error-prone process. It is redundant and repetitive tasks. You will have to install Bitbucket exporter, export the file as tar file, and then import it on GitHub UI utility. Since it's a manual process, customers may mess up export and imports into the organization. It is taking developers time and long hours of work. No dry run pre-analysis report. What if a failure happens during migration? How would you know pre-migration and save time on it? And I'll talk about it in the next few slides about it. Migration and marking of LFS files greater than 100 MB is not guaranteed and takes hours based on file size. Webhooks are not fully supported. And on top of that, it's a disjointed effort. You don't get any insights, dashboard progress views, and that is lack of visibility. Any of these challenges resonate with you and in the forum as well, Ed?
Definitely with me, especially that middle column there, disjointed experience. So the main goal of any of these migrations is to arrive at the destination unruffled. You know, all the people that you're affecting here, they have their jobs, they have releases to put out, they have story points to burn down. This is a big pain in their butt. So you want to make it, you want to ease that pain the best that you can and make sure they have a good experience.
Yeah.
So given that, I've seen in the industry kind of two different flavors of big migrations. One is a do-it-yourself approach, where basically the team says, hey, everybody, by the end of this quarter, we have to be off of this system and onto the new one. Please move your projects, right? And then the onus is on the developers to do the move. The other route is where we or the center team does the move with using tools or in some kind of an automated fashion. And what that looks like is some kind of a communication plan that says, hey, teams A, B, and C, make sure you have everything pushed on Friday because on Monday, you're going to find your code at this new location. So which of those two types do you see trending, Saurabh?
Yeah, you bring up a good point. It is a not standard and not a centralized process. If you do it yourself, each team is doing it on their own way and a different way. So we want to centralize the process. And it's also manual and time consuming if you're not doing it in a centralized one way of creating a task and doing migration. So we want to automate it. We want the whole process and speed up migration. And that brings me to next slide, how quickly and easily we can automate with Opsera. With Opsera, it is an automated process. You can create a task in few clicks, start it and forget it, and migration will happen and generate a report for you. We will take care of export and import of repos, which otherwise you were doing it manually. We will migrate commits, history, users, comments, comment histories, webhooks, everything. Do you have any questions so far, Ed?
So I see on this slide, there's a green button that says run task at the bottom. Is that button, you click that button and these migrations happen automatically? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yes, that is correct. It is that easy. First, let me share with you what is a task. A task is an automated batch process created once and run many times. And in few clicks, you can create a task. In this case, we are migrating repos from Bitbucket to GitHub. And once it is configured, and I'll show you a video in next slide where it's just literally a couple of clicks and you're creating this task, and then you run the task in one click. Does that help you? Do you have any other question, Ed?
So the other piece here that I'm curious about, when I was doing these, the unknown unknowns were what kept me up at night and scared me. How mature is this? Has it been used in the wild? Is it battle hardened?
Yeah, so we have many success stories, and I'll try to share a few in success stories in next few slides. So you'll see how tested and validated this SCM migration is in the industry. Thanks. So let me introduce you more details of our capabilities with SCM migration on Opsera. As you can see in this video, you're creating Bitbucket to GitHub migration task with a couple of clicks and running it. With Opsera, it is a web-based automated process. It's a wizard-based automated process. You can start the task and forget it. And once it's migrated, you will generate a post-migration report. Migrate 100 repositories at one time. So we have around 100 repos in a given task, and we can have 10 tasks running at once. So you can migrate up to 1,000 repos in parallel. We offer API support for scalability, and we offer support for webhooks. We can mark and migrate LFS files. Once GitHub has enabled a flag to move large repos, we can mark and migrate these LFS files. Ed, do you have any questions so far?
Yeah, I do want to just confirm something here. So I have my repos where I've been living with them for a long time, and some files have gotten very big. I never marked them LFS, even though maybe I know that I should have. I haven't. I know GitHub has these requirements for large files to be LFS. You're saying that I don't have to go figure all that out and fix it. I can just run this utility and you're going to mark those as LFS for me?
Yeah, so there is a caveat. First, you have to go to GitHub and ask them to enable the flag to move large repos. So if for example, if within a repo, there is 100 MB of repo file that is greater than 100 MB, what we'll do is by default, GitHub will not migrate LFS files or mark them, and because the branch is protected. So what we do is, as a part of migration, we'll basically unprotect the branch. We'll move the file which is above 100 MB, mark it as LFS, and then protect the file and mark the branch protected. Seamless to customer, and this is all automated. Does that help you, Ed?
Absolutely. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Let me go to my next point here, where dry run analysis report I was talking previously. You can get a pre-migration report telling you the repo size, how many LFS files you have, how long it took, how many webhooks you have, and you can understand from the report if any failure could have happened and take care of it and save time on it, and then decide if you want to migrate, which files you want to migrate. For example, you need to migrate few LFS files or not. Any more questions, Ed, so far?
Yeah, so I know code is just text files and repos should be small. But in my experience, there's at least a subset of repos that have grown for whatever reason and have gotten very large. I also know GitHub has size requirements and constraints. Can you say migrate a 10 gigabyte large repo?
Yes, correct. And that brings me to my next point. So we offer multi-part migration. For example, one of our customers, MoveWorks, wanted to migrate 20 GB of repo to GitHub. Due to their manual process, the utility was failing out at 15 hours. So what we did is we did multi-part migration and migrated in parallel. It took us around 58 hours, and we were able to migrate successfully. And this was seamless to the customer. And hope that answers your question and the maturity of the model. We support migration for multi-source repos. We can add multiple repos from Bitbucket workspace to single org in GitHub in one task. As Bitbucket has workspace, projects, and repos. GitHub has organizations and repositories, so we can move single org to GitHub in a task. We continue to migrate repos even if a repository fails during the migration. So what happens is, while you're migrating thousands of repos, if one of the repo fails migration, the whole entire migration will fail. But we can prevent that. We do is we can give 3 retries during migration, and what will happen, for example, is, let's say you have to migrate an issue event or an object that has 10K events, and you have conflicting information on the source, and then the target is not able to include it and import it. So basically, your repo will fail, import will fail, and target will be locked. What we'll do is we'll do 3 retries, and you can migrate it within the 3 retries, and we will unlock the repo automatically. So having said that, I want to also share that we can automatically update your pipelines with new GitHub repos for Jenkins and Bamboo plans, and without disrupting your CI/CD pipelines. Any questions more?
Yeah, that's really important to me, right? So when we used to do these, we used to communicate out when we did these big bang migrations that things are going to move, and on Monday, when everything gets to its destination, the teams would be told, go fix your automation, go repoint your automation to the new location. You're saying that you're able to do that for me, and my automation is just going to continue to work?
Yes, so we have post-migration scripts. We have a SSH script, which we can add to your repo migration, and we can migrate those basically post-migration, we can update those URLs from the previous Bitbucket URL, in this case, to the new GitHub URLs. Does that help? And it speeds up the process, and your current tasks are unhindered and continue to work without disruption.
That's great. Wonderful.
And at the end, also, I want to share, we have pre and post migration reports and full burn down charts. Having said that, I also want to share a few success stories with you. This is InfoMagnus success story. InfoMagnus could not migrate 22 GB of repos for a month with 2.2 million objects, including PRs, commit, webhooks, and everything. They were timing out at 15 hours due to manual migration. With Opsera, we did it in 61 hours, and we were able to migrate seamlessly. We saved InfoMagnus time, money, and brought in efficiency for them. This is a success story with Honeywell. We accelerated Honeywell's move to GitHub. We moved 100+ repos in 1.5 hours, which took 6+ days before. With Opsera, you can migrate to GitHub faster. Honeywell had around 7,500 developers. We migrated close to 65 GB of repos, 6,000 repos were migrated, and we also migrated 20, 30, 50 GB of repos, 3 million to 5 million objects migrated. We migrated repos, branches, webhooks, PR, commits, histories, everything. And in this slide, I want to sum up and share the takeaways overall Opsera platform with GitHub. Opsera platform provides faster migration and offers end-to-end automation and audit trails. We give you pre and post analysis report to track the changes across multiple tasks in your SCM pipelines. We migrate more than 100 MB of files less than in 3 minutes. 400 MB files with analysis report, we did it in less than 10 minutes. We do parallel migration. We can add pre and post migration scripts. We can do Delta sync between Bitbucket and GitHub, seamless migration from Bitbucket, GitLab, and other SCM tools. And we have improved developer productivity and system-driven maturity to identify gaps. In this chart, I actually want to show you our capabilities. As you can compare it with other utilities, Opsera supports all the components for code migration, pull requests, webhooks, users, comment history, and others, everything. Now, I want to ask you about your security posture with source code repos. With GitCustodian, you can stop secrets and sensitive data that is leaking out to your source code. With GitCustodian, you can scan secrets, token, PI data in your source code and get yourself GDPR compliant ready. You can create and resolve tickets from our unified platform. We did a webinar. Aditi can provide a link on GitHub webinar in the chat. And Ed, we did a webinar together. Do you have any comments on that?
Sure, real quick. Moving dirty repos into your new system is a lot like moving dirty furniture into your new house. Opsera has a really slick way to identify secrets in your repos, systematically address those secrets, and prevent additional secrets from getting in. So happy to give a link out there and show you more about that.
Thank you. And with this slide, I want to actually share the whole unified platform. I want to share that with Opsera, you can quickly adopt Copilot with fast SCM migrations to GitHub. Opsera acts as a bridge because we support GitHub and GitHub Action features. You can migrate to GitHub with GitCustodian, so you're retaining all your historical source code data, cleaning up secrets and vulnerabilities, measuring ongoing success with unified insights. And you're not setting this all up yourself. Opsera offers out-of-the-box feature support and 100% integration. Again, you can improve the overall developer's productivity. We give you data to enable system-driven maturity through our out-of-the-box insights. And with that, Aditi, do you have any questions before I go to the demo?
Yeah, a few questions came through. Do you support GitHub Enterprise?
Yes, so we do support GitHub Enterprise, Cloud Enterprise, and EMU.
Okay, great. Another one is about dry run analysis. How will the dry run analysis report help?
Yeah, so the dry run analysis helps with the repo. You can get a pre-migration report. You will get repo size, how many LFS files you have, how many webhooks you have, and you can see how large are your file system on GitHub. So then you can decide whether to migrate those files or not. And then an example, if you want to migrate an LFS file, or you want to not include it, so you can save time on those with those reports during migration, and there are no errors.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And if you have more questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm going to go to a demo really quickly here. So in this case, I actually want to show you guys a task that I really created. You saw the video, but first let me land on my home page. I'm going to go to a task, and I'm going to go to my task, which I just created. I'm going to show you the task that was created here. I've created a Bitbucket to GitHub migration task. I've selected SCM migration from my dropdown. I have source SCM tool, which is Bitbucket, and my user to log into to do those changes from my tool registry. And then I have the target, which is GitHub. And similarly, I have a user here that is connected. And now here we have the repos that automatically pop up. From Bitbucket, we have source workspace, source repository, target, and then so on. So I'm going to just go ahead and add a repo here so you can see it, and then move forward and do the migration. And that's all you need to do in few clicks. And let me go back and show you what happens. I also want to show you, I was talking about dry run. So let me first go and show you the config for dry run here. I have enabled dry run for my task. And now let me show you pre-migration. I'm going to run this. And I see a report where you can see, yes, your repo is ready to migrate. And with that, I want to also show you my post-migration report. Let me go to the task. First, let me show you the config of this task. Similar config, everything. And, and I'm going to show you the report here, which is sharing the source repos, target repos, successful size of the repo, branches, PRs, webhooks, tags, commits, and how much time it took. And you can download the report. I also want to show you the console logs, like how this was initiated. For example, we started migration. and package install updated, Bitbucket server exporter, repositories exporting pull request, commit comments, and then further going on multi-part upload success, and then keep going down. And I want to show you the success story here, update git hooks, LFS initialized, and further on, going on to LFS was successfully enabled, list files, and update git hooks, and LFS initialized and successful at the end. So that's the console report. Aditi, any more questions we have so far?
Yep, a few have come through. What does Opsera support for migration?
Yeah, good question. So we support Bitbucket Enterprise to GitHub. We support GitLab Cloud on-prem server to GitHub. We support GitHub to GitHub EMU. We support GitHub on-prem to GitHub Enterprise users. And having said that, I want to come back to demo, and I can, Aditi, if you have more questions, let me know. I can answer more. I did want to show you the tool registry. For example, you were wondering, this is the heart of everything. Where are these tools coming from? We have registered these tools, and you can come here and make a connection as simple as that. You have a URL, and then you have a username and API token to connect to that, and you just test that connection, and that's about it. That's about for my demo. Aditi, do you have any more questions for us?
Yeah, there's a few more. There's just one, how fast does it go?
Yeah, so how long will it take for, let's say, take an example of 5 MB, 10K commits. So anywhere around 15 to 20 minutes, we can do 700 commits in a minute. The more commits, more time it will consume because we are checking out the commit and then checking in. So give or take around 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah.
Wow, okay. And how do you migrate really large files?
So good question again. So you might have files, for example, above 100 MB, 5 GB, 10 GB. So there's a prerequisite. First of all, you'll have to go to GitHub Enterprise and ask them to enable the flag to move large repos. And once that flag is enabled, we can migrate them automatically through our task that I showed you. And we do it multi-part, like I was sharing MoveWorks and Honeywell success story. We can do it in parallel and in multi-part.
Oh, great. That's all I've seen from any questions. Does anyone else have any questions? Please continue to drop them in the Q&A section.
Yeah, if there's no questions, I can give you a few quick takeaway, and also thank you guys to being here. Do visit our website. And for overall advantage for SCM migration, we provide dry run analysis report. We do multi-part migration. You don't have to worry about export and import. It's all automated through our process. We can do around 1,000 repos in few minutes because we're doing it parallel. We are scalable and secure. And over to you, Aditi, if anything else.
Well, thank you both so much. This was so informative, and we thank all the attendees for coming by. We'll be sharing the full recording of this session to everyone. And yeah, visit our website if you want to learn more about what Opsera can do, especially for your SCM migration. And we look forward to seeing you at our next DevOps Huddle, which will be about Salesforce DevOps. Thank you, everyone.